Okay. How can I not? I can't. I forgot to show you this picture. Plants schmance. Like mustard plants are not that cool. Artificial selection with dogs is like crazy talk. Like I found this image, I don't know, Wikimedia, whatever, but they just gathered together a bunch of like dog breed pictures and look at the great diversity of dog enos. And we picked it. They could make babies with each other as long as they are, we'll talk about speciation and how, like, what are the reproductive factors involved in such things. But that right there, those guys are all the same group. And humans decided that they wanted somebody, right, who has, I don't know, you can't see. I mean, which is your favorite? I mean, I'm kind of feeling like I'm loving this guy right here, but there's no question that hands down, that's that guy right there. Can you guys see my arrow? That's my favorite guy. Maybe it's just that I dream of like, do you just kind of want to cuddle him? But then I wonder, is he comfortable? I hope he's comfortable. Okay. Evidence of artificial selection is actually really entertaining. But natural slash artificial selection, do you agree, is natural selection? It's just controlled by humans. That's the only reason why we're calling it artificial. But it's basically the same mechanism of it. It's a natural selection mechanism of evolution. Our next four, actually, I think there are three more. Am I right? There's 1, 2, 3. Yes. There's natural selection. Let's write them all down. Our four mechanisms are natural selection, which we've spent most of our time talking about so far. Did you know that? And then mutation. And we're going to talk about each of these separately. Gene flow and genetic drift. These are the four ways that natural selection takes place. And I want to stop us. I want to just push a little quick timeout and go, let's get a couple more definitions just to make sure we're really clean in our understanding of these four different mechanisms and the relationship to overall evolution. So the first thing that I'm going to do, we've got a definition for evolution. It's that change in a population of critters over a span of time. But let's drill down a little bit. There's actually two flavors. And I don't know, flavor is the wrong word. You can tell me what the word is. Of course it's not flavor. I'm pretty sure every time I use the word flavor, it's never flavor. That's never the word that should be used. Microevolution and macroevolution. Microevolution is a really specific definition, and I tend to go here because you know me, I like the small stuff. I like all those little tiny molecular processes, and microevolution is change in allele frequency in a population over time. So I want you to think about this for a minute. Allele frequency. This actually is going to let us quantify evolution. You can count alleles. Remember when we did the human heredity lab where you checked your characteristics? You're like, okay, am I a tongue roller? Well, the answer is yes. If I'm a tongue roller, what might my genotype be? And for me, oh, look at what I did. I erased some things. I'm figuring out why it is erasing things that whatever. You do not need to understand that because we were talking about allele frequency. Allele frequency is basically counting alleles. And I'm going to use tongue rolling as my example. Tongue rolling is a dominant trait. So your genotype could have been homozygous dominant or heterozygous, as opposed to a non-roller is homozygous recessive. Do you agree that we could count, we could do the math, in our class, grab a group of people, find out if folks are rollers or non-rollers, have everybody identify their genotype, count them all up. Count up all the alleles in the population, and you could determine what percent of all the alleles are big R, and what percent of all the alleles are little r. You could figure that out in a population. And we probably should do some examples of that. That, when you count alleles, that's actually, you are, I better be careful not to close that. You are determining the gene pool. The gene pool is the sum of all the alleles in a population. And if you count the alleles at time 1, and then something happens and you count them again at time 2, if there is a change, then microevolution occurred. Imagine Godzilla comes and eats only tongue rollers. Godzilla, if you can't roll your tongue, Godzilla's like, whatever, you're not worth my time. But if you can roll your tongue, Godzilla's going to eat you. What's going to happen to the population of tongue rollers if Godzilla comes through and eats all the rollers? The number of big R alleles in the population is going to go down. That's evolution. The allele frequency change. That's microevolution. Let's contrast that with macroevolution. Microevolution drives macroevolution. So the microevolution, those processes of changing the allele frequencies drive macroevolution, which is speciation. Change in species over time. And we will talk about speciation and how it works. How do we go from one finch to 9 different finches that all look so different? How did that happen? How did we end up with 9 species where we think we probably started with 1? How did that happen? That's macroevolution, that's speciation. Microevolution drives it. Now, we're going to take a look at every single mechanism because we've spent some good time on natural selection. Now let's look at the other 3 mechanisms of microevolution and see what we think.